In this tutorial we're going to look at creating a toolpath template to use with the machining wizard. And the process of doing this is very simple, but you have to start just with a blank model. So we're going to create a new model. It really doesn't matter about the details for it, it's just any old blank file. And similarly, we're just going to define a vector. And again, the vector doesn't matter. What we'll use this vector for is to create a toolpath which is linked to a region, a vector region only. When the wizard starts, it will replace our dummy vector, if you like, with the ones created by the wizard, but it's required for creating the toolpath. So I've created a new file, dropped a vector in place, and now I just go to the toolpaths page, and here we can create a toolpath which will form the basis of our template. So, for example, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to create a toolpath that does both a roughing and finishing pass. So I create, first of all, my toolpath, which will be the roughing toolpath. So I give it the name roughing at the bottom here. And the roughing toolpath is going to be based on a tool which will machine, starting from the bottom of the page, the selected vector only. We might allow a small allowance, say 0.2 allowance, at that stage for the roughing pass. I'm going to select a save set of 12 is fine, but bear in mind that this save set does need to be set according to the block that you're going to cut from, and also the available retraction space in your machining setup. So I'm going to cut this, generally I'm going to use this toolpath for cutting from wax blocks which are 10 mil thick. So as long as I have more than 5 mil from that centre line back up, then I should be okay. So 12 mil is fine. And now I'm going to select my tool from the database, and I'm going to use one of the alchemy tools here, which is the 1 mil roughing tool. So basically it's a 1 mil tool, but the strategy, the step over for this tool is bigger than we would normally have for a ball nose tool. So I'll select that tool, and I'm going to have multiple Z passes, and I know, as I say, that I'm going to use this for blocks of wax where I'm never going to cut really in beyond 5 mil. So if I make the first pass at 3 mil, that'll be generally 2 mil in from the top of the block. And it's worth noting at this point that I don't set up the material. Really, you mustn't set up the material for jewelsmith type toolpaths, especially not for doing rings or shanks or anything where you've defined the thickness, because that thickness will be upset by defining a material. So you mustn't do that. Now, we don't actually need to calculate anything for this toolpath. I just need to say I'm going to use it later. So I click the later button and close. And now on the toolpath page, we can see up here we have a toolpath which is created, but it's not been calculated yet. And I'm going to use the same strategy to raster for my finishing pass. So again, selected vector. I'm going to have no allowance this time. The save set's fine, and I shall select the 0.5 mil ball nose, select, and I'm going to call this one though finishing. And it's not going to be multiple Z passes, so later and close. And now we can see we've got two toolpaths up here that have both been created around about a selected vector, and they haven't been calculated. And now I use this option here to save the toolpaths as a template. So I'm going to save these out. I'm going to save them in my Jewelsmith projects folder. I'm just going to call this my simple rough finish, save. And that's it. I can throw away this model. It was just really all being generated for the creation of that toolpath template. And that's all there is to it.